Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 44 years. I'm going through the lessons again this year, asking Jesus for clarity, and then I write from that clarity, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. So let's get started. We're looking at the first review, and we'll do the introduction and lesson 51. The introduction to the review gives explicit instructions for using these lessons. Jesus planned these lessons in such a way that doing them as instructed would rewire our minds. You may remember that in the first introduction, he said this: the purpose of the workbook is to train your mind in a systematic way to a different perception of everyone and everything in the world. The exercises are planned to help you generalize the lessons so that you will understand that each of them is equally applicable to everyone and everything you see. And he also said, remember only this: you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept them, and you need not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy. But do not allow yourself to make exceptions in applying the ideas the workbook contains. And whatever your reaction to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more than that is required. There are introductions to each new set, and for these reasons, it's important that we read them and understand how we are to proceed. So we're going to begin now with lesson 1. Nothing I see means anything. Jesus reminds us that there is nothing to see here. The body's eyes don't show us what is here. It only shows us what the mind wants to see. Right now, I want to see a computer and a desk. I want to see a bowl of grapes and a glass of water. I want to see out the window as the sun rises. But everything I see is nothing. It doesn't actually exist. It appears to exist because I believe in it. He tells us in chapter 1, section 6, paragraph 4, belief produces the acceptance of existence. That is why you can believe what no one else thinks is true. It is true for you because it was made by you. I want to be careful what I believe in because that is how it winds up as part of this strange construct we call life. Paragraph 2. I've given what I see all the meaning it has for me. What does this computer mean to me? What is it for? Why did I want it in my life? I decided all those things. When I was working, I had a computer and I was very conflicted about it. I was not comfortable with new things, and technology was definitely new for me. The computer helped me in my job, but I had judged it as a problem, so there was conflict. What if I had already learned to disregard my judgments because I don't know what anything is for? I could simply have asked the Holy Spirit to judge for me. Then I would have had a useful tool instead of a problem. And maybe I would have had fun learning new things since I have the best teacher ever right here in my mind. We have already established that what we see with our eyes is not really there, but we can use what we have manifested as the world to learn to see. This true seeing, which of course refers to as Christ's vision, is ours since we are part of the Christ, but we will not experience it if we choose to believe in what the eyes are showing us. That is why I remind myself often that the world I see is not real. There is a real world, and I want to see it. Paragraph 3. I do not understand anything I see. The world is not understandable. It makes no sense. If I let go of one understanding to make room for another, I've just traded nothing for nothing. If, on the other hand, I let go of my judgment and accept the Holy Spirit's instead, I will have a truer perception. When I let go of my belief that the world is real, I will have made room for what actually is real. I only need to be willing to do this. I have inflammation in my feet and I experience pain from this. Lesson 190 tells us that pain is not real. I don't deny that I seem to feel pain, but I deny that it has a divine cause or ultimate reality. To be real, it would have had to have been caused by God. So I'm reminding myself that it is only my belief in pain and the belief that I deserve pain that I am feeling. I ask the Holy Spirit to correct my perception of these beliefs. I want only what reflects reality to have a place in my mind. So, paragraph 4. These thoughts do not mean anything. The thoughts I think are meaningless. They represent the ego's interpretation. The ego is not real, so its thoughts are not real. But I have real thoughts, the thoughts I think with God. I will be aware of them when I let go of the thoughts I think with the ego. I used to not trust doctors and resented them. I seemed to get the worst doctors, and when I had one I liked, I would lose him. Finally, I got around to asking the Holy Spirit what was going on. He told me that I was separating myself from the doctor by making him my idol. I expected them to save me, and I was disappointed when I left their office the same vulnerable person who entered it. Instead of seeing them as separate and you at their mercy, see them as your partner, wanting the best for you. When I changed my thoughts about doctors, I suddenly got the best doctors. Another thought given to me in regard to doctors was to see the partnership as one in which they looked after the body and I took care of my spiritual healing. As Jesus will tell us in the Course, all illness is mental illness, which simply means correction belongs in the mind. As I become more sane, my body tends to heal more quickly and requires less attention. Sometimes I don't get clear directions. When I'm in fear, for example, and I understand the problem, but I'm unable to let the fear go, I might receive peace, and that is lovely. From the peaceful place, I may be able to gain other valuable help. Or if I'm grieving and turn to the Holy Spirit, I receive comfort. No words needed. Once when I was lost, I asked for help and just started driving. I wound up exactly where I needed to be. What I need for any form of help is to abandon my own thoughts so that I can become aware of the thoughts I think with God, or at least thoughts that are closer to what I think with God until I open my heart completely. In paragraph 5, I'm never upset for the reason I think. I've often thought I was upset because something wasn't going my way or because someone was a problem for me. When I got married, it sure seemed like he was my problem. I could have sworn he was the reason I was upset. But when we divorced, he was still my problem, even though we were not together. That is when I began to really understand how it is that I'm never upset for the reason I think. It was like he was in my mind, still making me upset, but of course he wasn't. My thoughts were in my mind. It was my thoughts about him that were the problem all along. I could see how I used this relationship to convince myself that I was an innocent victim and he was the victimizer. I used him to prove I was right and he was wrong. I did these things because this was the world I had made with my beliefs and I was defending it. It was painful, but it was real to me because I'd made it. I grew so much from that miserable situation. I can only be grateful for it. These first 5 lessons are not gentle suggestions. They are a complete undoing of how I have seen everything. And strangely, that undoing feels like relief. If I let them sink in, nothing I thought was solid remains. And that is the best news I've ever heard. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, then please like it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And I'll be back soon with another reading. See you then.